Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're down to the last 3 weeks of school. It's been an interesting year. I've definitely never had anything like this in my whole teaching career. This remote learning. First half of the year being in school, and then the second half of the year being out of school and teaching you guys from a distance. It's definitely been an experience. Um, so we are in a new unit in science, natural resources. Okay. On page 327, the big idea of this unit is natural resources are essential to life and must be used with care. Okay, so that's where we need to focus on as the whole world needs to focus on conserving our resources. They're not going to be there forever. You know, trees take a long time to grow after you cut them down. There's only a limited amount of fossil fuels in the ground. Things run out, okay? And we can damage our environment. We've, discovered with global warming and all the pollution that we put into the air. So we got to treat our earth with care. It's been good to us and we should be good back to it. Okay, so if you turn over to page 328, is just some of the central questions and big ideas of the chapters or lessons within this unit. So lesson 1, we're going to focus on how do people use resources. And if you don't know what resources are, you're going to find out about that in lesson 1. Lesson 2, we're not going to do the inquiry flip chart STEM. That's something that we usually do in class. But anyway, lesson 2, how do people conserve resources? Okay, that's conserve means to save. And then we have a review. Okay, so there's only 2 lessons in here. I'm sorry, there's 3 lessons. I knew there was another lesson in there. So how can we conserve natural resources? Okay. Oh, that's also an inquiry flip chart. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna move on to lesson 1, page 329. The central question is, like I said, how do people use resources? Okay, and it shows a picture of a person that looks like they're about to plant something in the ground. Okay, plant a little plant in the ground. Okay, so let's learn about natural resources. Page 330. Okay, we have a picture of a windmill in the top left corner. It says wind or moving air is a renewable energy resource. Wind turns this turbine to produce electricity. So that's a renewable resource because you could use it over and over again, okay? You're not going to run out of wind. So under natural resources, that big heading on the top of the page, it says water, wind, sunshine, soil, coal. These may not seem much to have in common. However, they are all natural resources. Every living thing uses natural resources each day. Okay, so I'm going to read the main paragraph now. Okay, it says, did you use water this morning when you brushed your teeth? Did you eat some fruit with your breakfast? If you did, then you used a natural resource. A natural resource is anything useful or necessary for living beings that occurs naturally on Earth, okay? Not man-made, naturally on Earth. Human beings depend on natural resources all the time. You use many of them without even thinking about it. Scientists classify resources into 2 groups. Renewable resources are resources that nature can replace when they are used. Like I gave the example of the wind. It's not going to run out. You could keep turning that turbine and it's going to keep using the wind to produce electricity. New trees grow to replace trees that get cut down. The water cycle constantly replaces water. Air, plants, animals, wind, and sunlight are other renewable resources. Okay. Sunlight is something that is essential for life. It's essential for crops to grow, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So that's a renewable resource. Then it says in this little blue on my page, blue box about the farmers, they use natural resources such as soil, air, water, and sunlight to produce food. Okay, so now let's take a look at non-renewable resources, resources that can't be renewed. Okay, So on page 331, it says non-renewable resources are resources that nature cannot replace after they are used. Someday they may disappear completely. Minerals and soil are non-renewable resources. If used carefully, soil can last a long time, but if it is destroyed, it cannot be replaced. Fossil fuels are also non-renewable resources. A fossil fuel is an energy source formed deep inside the earth from the remains of organisms that lived long ago. Coal, natural gas, and oil are all fossil fuels. Most of the energy we use comes from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels not only power cars and trucks, they are burned away in many energy stations to produce electricity. So fossil fuels is gasoline. That's, an example of a fossil fuel. Once it's refined, the oil turns into gasoline. Natural resources are used to make products of all sorts. Every product you use started out as a natural resource. Okay, so they're showing a picture over here of an oil pump, okay? Some oil is being pumped from deep below the ocean floor, okay? So now at the top, we have these pictures. And what it wants you to do is identify each resource as renewable or non-renewable and explain your answer. Okay, so the first picture of aluminum foil, that's a little tricky. I'm going to go with renewable, and I'll explain to you why. Okay, so this box, at least the box of the aluminum foil, that could be recycled, okay? And I believe the aluminum foil could be recycled too. So it's a renewable resource, okay? I'm going to put can be recycled. Okay. So renewable because it can be recycled. Now, on the corn stalk, that was another example of a renewable resource that we read on page 330, okay? It's the cycle of harvesting crops, planting crops, and then in the fall you harvest them and you pick them, and then you plant new seeds. So it is renewable, okay? So renewable, plants are a renewable resource. Okay, kind of hard to fit in there. So I said renewable again because plants are renewable resources, and this is a plant. Corn stalk is a plant. Okay, so now the next picture is of a gasoline pump. That is non-renewable because it is a fossil fuel. Once you burn it off, once the car uses it, it's gone. Okay, there's no replacing it. It can't be recycled. Okay, and that also causes air pollution, which is another subject. But so I'm going to put non-renewable for gasoline. Fossil fuel. Fossil fuels are not renewable. That's my reasoning. Okay. Last one, sunlight. We know that's renewable. Remember, I was just talking about it a minute ago. Sunlight's not, as far as we know, isn't going away anytime soon. It's essential for life. It comes up every morning. I mean, even if it's a cloudy day, the sun's still there. So it's renewable. It's constant. Okay, it's not like once you use up the sunlight, it's not coming back. Okay, it's not like you just flick off a switch and it doesn't come back on. So it's renewable. Okay. Let's see. So the reasoning would be, I'll just say comes up every day. So you could just keep using it. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. It comes up every day. Of course, things aren't perfect. Sometimes we have droughts where it doesn't rain enough and we have too much sun. then sometimes it rains too much and things are flooded, and that could destroy crops too. But for the most part, it's water and sunlight are essential for growing plants, and yeah, so it's renewable. Moving on, okay, to 332. It says resources on the move. Okay, see that? And it has a picture of an oil drum. It says the United States and many other countries produce oil. Tanker ships and pipelines move oil to places where it is needed. Okay, so I'm going to read below the main caption that says resources on the move. Where do natural resources come from? Some occur where you live. Other resources occur in parts of the world and transported long distances to get to the places where they are used. So this is a map of where things are produced around the country, okay? We have our map key right here in the left-hand corner. We have like a green square for farming, a beige square for ranching, a picture of a coal, cart for coal, copper, and etc. I'm not going to go down the whole list. So you could kind of see where there's a lot of things. It's kind of scattered. If you look at oil, it's kind of scattered around the whole country. Something else that's kind of scattered around the whole country is natural gas. You'll see that. You see a lot in the Midwest to West, hydroelectric, okay? So it's just to give you an idea of what kind of natural resources are around the country, okay? Moving on to page 333, it says, have you ever tried a farmer's market? Local farmers bring their goods to the market soon after crops are harvested or products are made. Customers come to the market to buy fresh goods that are produced nearby. Goods sold at a farmer's market only travel short distances between where they are produced and where they are sold. Most natural resources travel long distances between the places where they occur and the places where they are needed. For example, the United States uses more oil than it produces. The United States must import oil. An import is something brought into a country to be sold or traded. So we're bringing oil from another country because we don't produce enough. We use more than we can produce in the country, okay? So other countries produce more oil than they use also, and these countries can sell extra oil they produce. So they have the opposite problem. They don't use as much oil, and they have an overload, a surplus of oil, okay? So they want to sell it, obviously, because it's valuable. So they export some of it to the United States. We get a lot of it from the Middle East. An export is something sent out of a country to be sold or traded. I already said that. Most imported oil arrives in the United States on huge tanker ships. These ships can carry large quantities of the natural resource. When oil arrives in the United States, it's converted into fuel and other products. These products are carried around the country in pipelines and on trains and tanker trucks. So it's the whole elaborate system that we transport fuel, okay, and oil. So this is a picture of one of those huge oil tankers, okay, and they move large amounts of oil across long distances. And unfortunately, you might see on the news sometimes that there's accidents of an oil spill, an oil leak, and, the animals, it's a concern, the sea animals around in the surrounding area, need to be rescued and they need to clean it up. So accidents happen. But yeah, we get most of our oil imported from overseas because we don't produce enough in our own country. Okay, so the last assignment here is do the math. Interpret a circle graph. It says this graph shows the amount of oil produced in different parts of the world. Each section shows production in one region. Label each section with the correct region and percentage. Okay, so this is kind of requires a little bit of eyeing up, if you know the percentage, it's kind of like obviously the bigger the number, the bigger chunk of the pie. It's like you have a pizza pie. So we see this little slice here. That looks like that's the smallest slice right there, right? So let's see what is the smallest percentage. Europe, believe it or not, all the way at the bottom. If you look, it says 5%. So I'm going to put Europe there. And I'm going to put 5%. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, see that? So Europe doesn't produce a lot of oil at all. Middle East obviously is on top. Like I said, we get most of our oil from the Middle East. So it has 30%. So it has the most out of any area or region in the world. So that would be the biggest slice. So we're going to put Middle East, 30%. Okay. Right there. Okay. And then coming in a close second, North America. Okay, now that's just not just us. Remember, we're the United States. North America includes Canada and Mexico. But we're next. So the next biggest slice is right next to the Middle East. Okay, so we're going to put North America there. 20%. Okay. All right, let's figure out the rest of them. Next biggest is Eurasia, which is part of the former Soviet Union that dissolved. That's, now Russia. So that area of the world, we'll just put Eurasia. %. Okay. Okay, so these other three are pretty even, and that's what the reason why is, look it. Central and South America are 10%. Asia and Oceania are 10%, and Africa is 10%. So that's why these are three equal slices of the pie chart, okay? So it doesn't matter where you put them as long as you put them in there. So we have, it's going to put Central / South America, 10%. Try to fit that in there. If you can't, you could draw an arrow pointing to it. We have Asia, Oceania, 10%. Okay. And Africa, 10%. Okay. So those are all the same. So just to give you an idea of how much oil is produced around how it's divided up around the world. Okay. So that's it for today's lesson. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how we use resources at home, how we could save resources, and reduce pollution. So that's going to be our next topic on Wednesday. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.